Okay then, John, so good session today. Hope you found it helpful. Just going to run through things now we discussed from the session. As we were saying, we're trying to work on that kind of good impact position. So here we have nice setup, kind of good kind of a lowercase y there with the arms and the club shaft. Ball position now is better, just something to be mindful of. It does have a tendency to creep back a little bit. Make sure it does get just left of centre there, because that's going to help you then move your body in the right direction, move the hands and the shaft lean to get in that forward lean position that we're looking for. What we don't want to do is have the golf ball back here and then your hand of the club kind of getting in front of the golf ball, but doing so by your right side, because although you're masking and getting the launch angle down, you're doing it as a result of kind of just adjusting, or as we said, fudging the numbers. So make sure that ball position is correct. Now the first thing to practice is from here, if needs be, put a box or something on the floor, keep the club on the ground and try and propel that ball as far forward as you can with no backswing. So you're going to feel almost like a push and a squeeze it in the ground, with everything kind of going down, down, down this way, and using the ground to kind of like push and squeeze the ball off. Almost that same kind of sensation if you're sort of squeezing a ping pong ball with your finger. You're pushing the ball in the ground. As it gets to a point where you it releases, it springs off your finger and you get out of backswing. So we're trying to create that kind of downward compression with the club. Once you've had a few swings like that, we then move the club back to about halfway, because the club is kind of level with your hips there, so a little bit further, somewhere in this kind of area here, turning your torso, and again keeping the hands and arms into your body. From there we're going to try and create as much speed as we can. Now don't worry about the strike in this case. All we're looking for is the speed and the body movement to do so by moving this way down to that left foot and putting pressure onto that lead foot as you come into impact. So once you've had a few of them, we're going to put the club back into this position, and then it's just sort of getting a bit of a rhythm now with this movement, and it might mean you have to start slow with it, with the club in this position now. Obviously looking back at the ball, we want to be here at this thing. The club kind of goes back as you move down to the left, so we got it, that kind of movement there. Okay, so the club is going up, you're moving left, and then as you're doing this now, you're bringing the golf club back down. So you could see when you did this, it was a little bit kind of disconnected, a bit kind of static and a bit kind of rigid, I suppose. It wasn't there sort of flow to this movement. Okay, we want to kind of see a sort of freedom and a softening with joints and limb. You don't want to be rock hard, stiff and rocked in the position there, so we can't really move as freely. We want to be in a position where we're able to move our body much more freely with softer grip, not so much tension through the hands and arms. So we're getting that sensation, getting that rhythm and that movement. So once you've done all this sort of movement there, this is all the practice that we're trying to do. Once, as we said before, once you step back to the golf ball, you get yourself back to the golf ball and just hit it from there. Now, these are obviously small swings. Once we get back to a normal position here at setup, we would just go 3, 2, 1 and hit it, okay? But you can see from here now, try when you're doing this, is one of the point now, just to remind you, don't watch the club. If your eyes are watching that club, you're conscious of where that club goes, and you're going to get, as we said before, something a bit sort of twitchy and yippy, because you're going to be so conscious of what you're looking at back here. And even if you do look at the club and you go, oh, it's in the wrong position, in the golf swing from here back to the golf ball, what are you going to do? Not a lot. I mean, your brain won't have enough thinking time to sort of think, oh, the club's in the wrong spot, I better do something. By the time you thought about what you're going to do, that club's come back and hit the golf ball. So always try, even if you're doing these movements, try to make sure we're focusing on the ball. You've got to start feeling it here. If we use our eyes to do it, you'll never get it wrong. But obviously when you step to a golf ball, you're going to have to look at the golf ball to swing the club efficiently or effectively. Okay, if your eyes are going side to side, your balance is going to be lost in this motion. So we should be looking at the ball, trying to feel the movement. I'm all for sort of swinging to there, stopping, and then taking a look to see whether you're in the right spot. But doing it by watching the club with your eyes is not really going to showcase a good move. It just shows you can put the club in the spot if you do watch what you do. Really, it should be more of a feel-based thing. So got to practice that movement, get that rhythm with the club, so your body's moving down to the left as the club goes to go up, and then from there, as we say, get that sort of softening and rhythmic movement. And as we come back to the ball, we can see we're starting to get an impact just a bit after strike there. Again, we're not worried about the strike itself, but where your hands and body are at impact, as you can see here now. Getting there. In an ideal world, those hands would be a little bit further forward, but we're getting to a spot now, we're getting the impact we're looking for. Just working on those movements enough over and over again so it becomes more familiar and less thought having to do it, and also not so much you watching with your eyes. It's got to be done through feel and where that club is, so you become more aware of where the club is in relation to you. during that swing, John. So I hope that makes sense. Any questions, obviously, feel free to give me a shout, get some practice in, and I will see you sometime soon. Cheers, buddy.